Good. Brought to you by Dos Equis, the beer of poverty. Alright guys, this is a new segment. To say I'm not normal is to say very little. I assume if you're watching this then you know that. So I'm right here, hanging out in Cancun. The wife, Steve, his wife, Jesse's here, Beep-Bip, Brianna. Beep is looking handsome out here, dude. Every time he lays down, it looks like a freaking model. Button-down shirt, all open for no reason. You been a Hollister? You see those Hollister people out front? That's Beep-Bip, but it's a side note. So we're out here in Cancun, and like I said, I'm not too normal of a person. What did I decide to do? Of course, like anyone else would do, I decided to record this first book review. I tried to start Instagram a couple times to get my stuff out, the videos, flags, whatever it is, but it's never really worked. I never really caught on. I think I just got frustrated, or I just wasn't familiar with the platform. One of the reasons I really wanted to use Instagram again was to get out some thoughts, to get most of my stuff I put out is nonsense, it's funny, just joking around besides the podcast. Even the podcast is a little funny. I really want to have an opportunity to talk about my thoughts that come up when I think about society, the world, humanity, all those gay things, you know. When I originally wanted to reboot the Instagram, I thought about just putting up like quotes or passages of books that I'm reading, different books I recommend, things like that. For whatever reason, last week, I think it was like a couple days ago, actually, before I even came out here, that I thought like, dude, like what, I was pumped. I was thinking like, dude, like what if I like recorded me talk about the book, like quick little review for Instagram, and then type up some stuff, write a little passage about my thoughts, and further elaborate, and then put that out there. There we go. Yeah, screw it, do it. I was telling Rosella, and she was like, "You can't embarrass yourself anymore." So you're right. You're right. So this is it. This is the first segment of that. What better book to jump this off with and to celebrate this time in Cancun? Ayana Hirsi Ali's Infidel. I mean, what better else it fits the mood? Islam, female genital mutilation, death threats, murder, immigration, refugees, poverty. Those are all things that fit Cancun, right? Yeah, thought so. So that's where I'm at. This is what book we're talking about, dude. First, to begin with, I'm not that familiar with Ayana. She was brought to light to me as far as in my world when I started listening to the Sam Harris's, to the Richard Dawkins, Chris Hitchens, Dan Dennett. I never really paid too much attention to her, but I was always familiar, or I always knew that she had a book, she had books out, she was a writer, and that she had an interesting story as a Muslim apostate. If you guys don't know about apostates in Islam, then they're essentially, according to the Quran, they're punishable by death. So yeah, so that's like kind of serious. It's kind of a little more serious than Christians saying, yeah, just don't go back to this church anymore, man. You can't teach kids if you don't believe in God. So it's kind of a different thing. Dude, this book, sometimes I get started in the book and it's like hard to get into, and this is starting a little slow, but I mean, it started slow for like 10 pages. It was getting hard through those first 10 pages, and I really had no clue what I was getting into. Like I said, I've heard she had a great story, but I had no idea like what that story was. Just black, so get it. The first thing that really stuck out, all the little anecdotes about growing up in Ethiopia. No. Somalia, for sure. And then they moved to Saudi Arabia, Kenya. I think they did go to Ethiopia, back to Somalia, Holland, Germany. She was everywhere. Nothing really hit me until she gets in the story about her excision. I think that's how you say it. Not equivalent, but it's similar to the male circumcision. I think she was 6. There's like no sedatives, and what they do for the girls, like they essentially, she said they scrape off the genitals, like cut off the genitals, but so I mean the clitoris and any piece up there, so they just cut that off and then like sew up the vagina so that they can be essentially ripped open on their wedding night, and that's how they show that you're a virgin. They'd leave like a little opening so they can urinate. Besides that, it's like closed up. What she was saying is like the flatter, the cleaner, the more tight you are, the better. And that's just crazy. And like you can't even, us in the Western society, like can't even imagine this. Like we never heard of these things. That's not on our spectrum, on our radar for things that are possible for humans to do. It's one of those things where people tend to be PC about it. It's like you don't want to offend the culture. Like, well, this is their culture, but there's some ideas that you really have to criticize, and I think that most people would agree that this is one of them. But I digress. But that's when I first got really engaged with the book, and I was like, God damn, dude, like what am I reading? Besides that, like I said, like it's crazy stories of her abuse. Not abuse, what's the word? Physical punishment? Physical punishment. The story, I'm not gonna get too much into it, but the story alone, like besides taking any outside thoughts of it or thinking, or really like meditating and chewing on the on her thoughts and her beliefs, and just like her evolution as an individual. Like, without even taking any of that, just story alone, it's a great book. It's a great read. You get emotionally invested. You feel with her. I don't read too many biographies, autobiographies. I don't know why. I just don't feel like people's stories are that interesting. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I should look into more. But even when I do read them, I take them all with like a grain of salt. It's like when you see those movies that are based on, I see a movie that says based on true events. It's like, all right, this is probably highly cinematized, glorified, romanticized, but there's some truth to this. And that's the same way I usually go about reading biographies. So, and I even say that with this, like, who knows how much of this is like blown out of proportion, just over the top with the things she says, things she discusses, her story, which it might not be, and it might all be completely true. I always take it like, all right, a little bit of skepticism. You always got it. You can't just sell all in or go all in. Even with that, dude, like, it's still like an amazing story. So you just take the story alone, and that sells itself. Like, that's worth the read. And once you really get to dive in, like the thoughts, this is something I stepped away from my faith, from my belief in God and Christianity about a year and a half ago, give or take. That process, that journey was rough, to say the least. It wasn't just something that I was just like, oh, okay, I don't believe in God anymore. And that's it. I mean, I still live my life the way I did. Look at me, and what is she now? Close to 50. Me and a 50-year-old Somalian refugee female really don't have much in common. But I can honestly say that I really felt like I saw myself in some of her mental games, her mental battles that she was having with herself. Like, it's so hard to be brought up. I wasn't even brought up in my religion, so I can't imagine her indoctrination, but it's so hard to believe one thing for so much of your life and to base your whole humanity, morality, values, purpose of existence on that, and then at some point just come away from that and have to admit to yourself, be completely honest with yourself, and just like, no, like, that's not what I think anymore. And you have to reform and reshape your entire life based on these new thoughts, and you don't even know how to go about that, dude. And that's what she had to do. Her family were devout Muslims. She spent some time in Saudi Arabia, which is the motherland of Islam. So you can just imagine how much that part of society was in her and around her. And you can see little by little throughout the book of her transformation, her just kind of questioning things, but at the same time having that indoctrination. At one moment she's questioning why God would make women and men unequal in her faith. But then in the next passage she's like, oh, so like, of course I'm wearing a hijab. Like, I gotta cover myself, because if not, then all males are gonna be tempted by my sexy body, by my arms, by my ankles, by my eyes. It's like she's flipping back and forth the whole time, and it's I get it, dude, I understand, because at the same time, I'm like, yeah, I don't believe in God. I don't believe the things he's done. Or I'm questioning, like, why would God order the murders of innocent people? Why would he call for these genocides? But then the next day, I'm thinking, dude, cover up, like, have some respect for yourself. You're looking like a slut. Like, who am I to judge that? And that's all based on once again, my religious indoctrination. But it's also a big part that hit me. It feels like I see myself in that. I really do. Just one word, the only word, the main word I can use to sum up the whole book, or what I got from the book, was just extreme honesty, however you want to call that, self-awareness, but extreme personal honesty. Like, she was just honest with herself and how she presented her thoughts. Like, she was telling us like everything she felt. It's hard to see that. It's not even hard. It's hard enough to come across that and to write that out articulately, but it's another thing it's a whole nother level to actually, it seemed like she was like, hey, this is exactly what I was thinking. Like, there's no romanticizing this. These were my thoughts, and this is how I got to these crazy conclusions. But yeah, extreme radical honesty with yourself. But just ultimately, I guess that's the biggest thing, dude, because you gotta really think, like, dude, do I really believe what I believe because I've convinced myself of this, because I grew up with this, or because I don't know, I've worked this out of my head, I've taken in a bunch of information, facts, data, whatever it is. Like, you have to, as much as you scrutinize other things in the world and other people, you have to triple, quadruple, pentuple, Google down on those thoughts on yourself, on scrutinizing yourself. And that's what she does in this book. And that's how I see another reflection of myself. Be like, if you step away from something that you hold so dear to your life, think about how hard it is to have an adult think twice about his thoughts, why he sees something the way he does, or to change his mind. How crazy is that? Like, how many people you see that change their mind on something they hold as a basis of their life and their existence? It's rare, dude. It's rare. And then think of the circumstance of changing your belief about religion, or about the universe, essentially. Literally about the universe, about how we're here, why we're here, and what our future as a whole was before, after death, the death of loved ones, our purpose here on earth, morality, what's good, what's bad. Like, you have to think about all these things. And it might be easy for someone who wasn't religion or morality, religious thoughts, or they never had a religious foundation of why they did the things they do, or live life the way they do. So that might not be that hard to step away from that, or to think differently about that. For someone who built up their whole life on religious scaffolding, it's a complete breakdown of that, and then you have to build that up, putting pieces together. Like, oh, this is good, this fits here, this doesn't. I don't like this is nasty, and then just kind of build that up, dude. Tell Jesse, I think I told him yesterday and today, dude. Like, nobody knows how to do this. Nobody's figured life out yet. We're all going day by day, just trying to do the best we can. The only way to really do that for the most of us, that they're really wise, is to make a bunch of mistakes and hopefully learn from them. Truth and honesty. Honestly, we'll go with that. Like, that's the main word I can take from this. The story's great. Some of her I see myself so much in some of her thoughts. Like, her battling with her about her religious doctrine, and then how she sees life. Like, she can't square that circle. And that's the same thing I had to face in my life, and I'm still facing on a daily basis. Just the radical honesty she had with herself, man, to put herself out there like this in this book. The fact that she's faced with death threats, the security detail that she has to live with. I don't know where she's at right now, and how that goes about right now, but I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy to essentially think that you're able to be killed any given day. So yeah, man, it's a rough draft. This is like the first time I'm doing this. I'm see how it works, see the feedback I get. Like I said, I don't know how many people want to read this book. Does that look interesting? Probably not, but I feel like enough of myself is funny, so I want to try to put out some serious things, or at least let you know that I'm not full retard, and I actually have some thoughts that go through his head. Go hit the club right now. I really don't want to go out at all, but it's Steve's birthday, so he wants to get us all hammered. You guys know how it is. Bye.